Let's lock in. Tank escapes with a draw, but did Roach deserve the victory? Look, it was controversial. Tank took a knee, but the referee did not count or counted as a knockdown. And if the referee did, the scorecards would have been different, and Lamont Roach would have escaped with a majority decision. But instead, the fight was a majority draw. Now, we're going to listen to a lot of reaction, and there's a lot to unpack in this video, so I need you to bear with me and stay with me while we go over this. Now, at the end of the fight, Tank was asked about why he took a knee, and this is what Gervonta Davis had to say.
I just got my hair done 2 days ago, and she picked grease in my shit, so the shit was like, like when you sweating and things like that, and the grease come in my face, it burnt my eyes type shit. Damn, why y'all going like I'm saying bullshit? Like, this is real facts.
And then, after the crowd booed Tank for his explanation as to why he took a knee, Tank went to kind of a Scarface mixed with a Jay-Z line. They love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. So they'll love him again, is what he said. Now, I want to show you this picture so there can be no dispute and no debates. You see in this picture that Gervonta Tank Davis is taking a knee. You see his knee is down, and you see him there. And his intent was to stop the attack that was coming from Lamont Roach, which there are no timeouts in boxing. Floyd Mayweather took a knee when he hurt his hand. He hit someone. It immediately hurt his hand. He took a knee, and the referee started counting. When you take a knee, that should automatically trigger a count. But that isn't what happened in the fight. So we're going to take a look now at what Lamont Roach had to say in his post-fight press conference. Well, after the fight, here's what Lamont Roach had to say.
You felt like you won the fight, but when the fight was over, before the judges, before the scorecards came up in the ring, were you worried at all that maybe you wouldn't get the nod?
Y'all know something funny? When we was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th, we was talking shit, right? But he like, you ain't gonna win. I said, shit, why not? What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I said, oh, is that right? So, that's how boxing work. It's sad to say, that's how boxing work. I'm not like totally upset. I figured with a superstar, you won't get too much on paper. But shit, I damn sure thought I had it. Especially when they announced the score for him. I was like, oh, they gonna give me a split decision win. I was like, oh yeah. I said, oh shit, here it goes. But as soon as I heard that 114, I was just like, damn, all right, it's over with. So yeah, man, it's just crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Like it's okay. We gonna run it back. It's okay.
All right, this video appears courtesy of Fight Hub TV. Subscribe to Fight Hub TV for the latest in boxing news. So you heard what he said. He said that during the fight, Tank told him they weren't going to give him the fight. Like, you're not going to win it. So Tank was confident that he wasn't going to win it. Maybe that's because he got away with taking a knee and the referee not calling it a knockdown. But then again, what do you expect from a clown? And I'm not trying to disrespect Steve Willis. Steve Willis is known for the faces that he makes during the fight when someone gets hit with a good shot. But Steve Willis is, in fact, a stand-up comedian, or he at least wanted to be. This is Steve Willis at a New York nightclub attempting to do stand-up comedy. Let's take a listen for a few moments.
I always wondered, when you die and go to heaven, do you show up in the same condition that you left? I'll give you a good example. The Pope died recently. They knew he was going to die. They helped him, They draped him in the robes, put the steam pipe hat on his head, put the cross in his arms. He walked through. Oh, yeah, excellent. Come on through. But what about the guy uptown that got shot in the face at Popeyes eating a piece of fucking chicken? What do you say to that guy?
I mean, he got some laughs. You can be the judge if you want to watch this video in its entirety. You can go to Willis, Jamaica on YouTube, and you'll find his stand-up, and you can like it, love it, or dump it. But you see there, Steve Willis is a comedian, and his decision not to count and to call taking a knee a knockdown was probably one of the best jokes that he's ever told. So now we're going to take a look at what Gervonta Davis said in his post-fight interview about taking the knee.
2 days before the fight.
Yeah.
Uh,
I ran water over it today, but I must ain't do it enough.
can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on? And
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning. And like you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the knee than, But I didn't really know that you can like get disqualified for all that. Or like when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell? But I don't know. It's cool.
Now, Tank, a professional fighter, someone who is known as a knockout artist, didn't know that you can get disqualified or it should count as a knockdown if you take a knee. To me, I find that hard to believe. It's almost as bad as when Donovan McNabb stated that he didn't know that a football game can end in a draw. But now we're going to take a listen to what Shakur Stevenson had to say at the end of the fight. And after this, I'll give you my take on the fight. This is what Shakur had to say because Shakur was in attendance to watch this fight. Let's listen to Shakur's take on it.
Now, which one Lamont won? Who you thought won? Lamont.
You thought Lamont won? By how many rounds?
I don't know.
You still want the Tank Davis fight?
So what?
You still want the Tank Davis fight? What went wrong? What went wrong? Take out a real steam or a fire out of me? Or is it still the same?
I mean, we're going to see. I'm the best fighter in boxing. I've been saying this. So,
Shakur, what went wrong for Gervonta in this fight? Just because, could we say maybe because Lamont didn't come in really?
I think he got overconfident. I think he was thinking Lamont wasn't that good. I told everybody how the fight was going to go. The fight went exactly how I said. Exactly.
After seeing this performance from Gervonta, do you believe your confidence has gone a little bit more up?
My confidence been up. I've been knew I was the best.
Keyshawn, what's your worst? Shakur, what's your worst? Keyshawn, he just won his fight.
Yeah, so this video appears courtesy of Fight Hub TV. Again, subscribe to Fight Hub TV for the latest in boxing news, interviews, everything. So now this is where I'll give you my take on the fight. I scored it 114-114. So I did, in fact, have it a draw. Now, before you come after me, history will show I'm no Tank fanboy. I've already stated this. There are people who love Tank, who gas up every little thing that Tank does, and there are people who hate on everything that Tank does, whether it's merited or not. I'm just in the middle. I'm someone who calls it the way I see it. For me, the first 2 rounds were dead heat. Like, nobody really established themselves. They were filling each other out, and they landed single-digit punches in the round, and even then, it wasn't a lot. It was like 3 punches, 5 punches, and their activity was very low. That's a danger zone for someone like Lamont Roach because you're fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. He's the A side. He's the cash cow for PBC. He's one of the only stars that PBC has left in a situation where they need him to succeed because they're going against Turki Al-Sheikh, and Turki Al-Sheikh has basically paid and purchased most of the big names in boxing. And so there's select few who aren't with him, and Tank is one of them. So he means a lot to the PBC brand. Knowing that, you can't have the type of rounds that Lamont Roach had in the opening 2 rounds, where you have very little activity, you don't do much, and you're kind of being stagnant, and you're throwing single shots, and you're letting Tank get through those rounds. And to me, the first 2 rounds, I knew most judges were going to give Tank those first 2 rounds. And on my scorecard, I gave Tank those first 2 rounds because I knew that Lamont Roach didn't win them decisively. And if you don't win a round decisively, you have to assume it's going to go to the A side and it's going to go to Gervonta Tank Davis. Then, as the fight continued, I noticed that Tank was opening up and being more active, and Lamont Roach was being reactive. It was almost as if he didn't want to take the lead because he feared Gervonta Tank Davis counters. And Tank was, to me, doing the better work. But there was a point in the fight, and I believe it was either the 6th or the 7th round, where Lamont Roach landed a right-hand counter that wobbled Tank's legs. And from the moment he landed that punch, like you could see he nodded at Tank. He knew he could hurt Tank, and that's when he started opening up. That's when he started to take the lead. That's when he started to press forward, and that's when he started landing some of the best punches we've seen on Gervonta Tank Davis. And that's when I think he took over the fight. So I scored it 6 rounds apiece. Now, the issue comes in when Tank took that knee. When Tank took the knee, that should have been called a knockdown. And on my scorecard, although I had it 114, which is the same way as 2 of the other judges. And again, you can go on Twitter and look at my scorecard at Caden the Geek. I put my scores out immediately. I don't wait. I don't try to hedge. I put out my scores as the fight's going. If you go on Twitter, you'll see. So I put out my scorecard before the official results were announced, and you could see I had it 114. I believe that was the correct score. But the problem is the knockdown that should have been counted. That's obvious to anyone who stepped in the ring, and you see several experienced professional boxing analysts saying, in all my years, I've never seen someone take a knee and go down and it not be counted a knockdown. And in all my years of participating in boxing, it's known that if you go down and you take a knee, the count starts. That's how Roy Jones lost to Montel Griffin. But anyways, if that was called correctly by the comedian Steve Willis, that's a 10-8 round for Lamont Roach, and he wins by majority decision. Even on the scorecard where Tank got 115, 113, it would change the scorecard, and that would have been 114. So you have a huge swing due to Steve Willis not calling it a knockdown. And you factor that in with Tank saying to Lamont, they're not going to give it to you. They're not going to give it to you. And you know that there was some A-side treatment going on. So to answer the title of this video directly, Tank escapes with a draw, but did Roach deserve the win? To me, he did. Officially, I scored at 114, but we know a knockdown wasn't counted. And if you count that knockdown, Roach wins. Now, there are people saying, and Roach said this himself, that he feels like he didn't need that knockdown counted to win. He felt like he won it on the scorecards. Personally, I didn't see it that way. And I think there are a lot of people who, because Tank is polarizing, I think there are a lot of people who really love Tank, and there are a lot of people who really hate Tank. And those who really hate Tank, they have it 116, 112. But to me, all they did was take 2 rounds, maybe even the first 2 or one of the first 3, because the first 3 really weren't that eventful. And they gave 2 of them to Roach because their bias let them see everything Roach was doing and ignore what Tank was doing. And you can say the same, but the opposite when it comes to Tank fans. For me, someone who's looking at it objectively, right down the middle, you have uneventful rounds where they both land in single digits and no one really landed a punch that of significance. Then A-side champion, you give them the round. But the rounds where Lamont Roach won definitively, which he did do, you have to credit him for that. And I thought it was 6 rounds apiece, but that knockdown should have been counted, and Lamont Roach should be celebrating for knocking off one of the quote-unquote superstars of the sport. Now this brings me to the next part of what I wanted to say. Watching this fight, when I was watching the first 5 rounds, I was thinking to myself, if this was Shakur Stevenson, he'd be getting killed all over the internet right now, because it wasn't necessarily the most entertaining fight up to that point. It did heat up, but up to that point, it definitely wasn't the most entertaining fight, but it did turn out to be a very good fight. But still, you got certain fighters who aren't even given a chance to ease their way into a fight. It's like people wanted to be all out action from round 1. So it kind of did show some of the bias and some of the unrealistic expectations that Shakur has to deal with, that Tank clearly didn't have to deal with. And I just remember watching it and thinking to myself, like, man, Tank was jumping back, because he said, like, Shakur always jumped back. He was doing certain things, and I was like, interesting how in boxing circles, Tank gets knockouts. So in the end, I understand why people give Tank the benefit of the doubt, but boxing is boxing at the end of the day. With all that being said, we have some more videos we're going to get into. So you should stay tuned, and hopefully you keep checking in. I want to say thank you to all those who leave a comment. I try to get back to every comment. Sometimes I can't because it's very busy. I have a very busy schedule, but I want to get these videos out. So I don't want to stop getting the videos, but just know, if you leave a comment, I see it. If I can get to it, I will, and I appreciate it. If you can hit the like button, because at this stage in the channel, it helps circulate the video. The more likes, the more YouTube algorithm will push the video. Of course, the comments also help. And if you want to check out this content, but you can't watch it because you're busy, you can listen to it on all major streaming services, the podcast Cadence Kerfuffle. Listen, there's more to come, so stay tuned. I appreciate you rocking with me. Let me know how you had the fight scored. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm out. Peace.